Britain's vaccine rollout has now hit the rate of 200 jabs a minute, with almost 5 million people having been given a first dose.
Now, of course, it comes as the Home Secretary insisted the COVID-19 jab is safe in response to people from ethnic minorities being targeted with anti-vaccination misinformation.
I want to take this moment and opportunity to counter some of the disinformation about the vaccine, especially any messages targeted towards those from an ethnic minority background. This vaccine is safe for us all. It will protect you and your family. It is our best chance of beating this virus.
Well, joining us to discuss this is Paulette Hamilton, a Labour City councillor in Birmingham and a former nurse. We have entrepreneur who often joins us on the show, True Powell, who is undecided whether he's going to get the vaccine when offered it. Dr Hillary is in the studio, and also we'll chat to Alex as well to see what members of his family and community are thinking about this. True, if we can come to you first, you're a sort of a businessman, an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you understand the importance of the vaccine. What are your concerns? Why are you nervous about taking this vaccine?
Firstly, Ben, I think it's really great that we're having this dialogue to be able to voice concerns without being ridiculed or demonised, firstly. So well done. And I guess my concerns are, number one, the government's handling of the pandemic. To say that it has been under fire, it would be an understatement. From the lockdown to pretty much everything else has been catastrophic. And how do we know that this vaccine isn't yet another blunder in a long list of blunders? Now, there is so much to say about the vaccine. It's so new. People are worried. People don't know if there's going to be long-lasting effects. There's not enough data to support certain areas. So my wife suffers from an autoimmune disorder. There's no data online to say if that's going to affect her or if it's not. Again, there's no data around pregnancy. There's no data around breastfeeding, or not enough data, should I say. There is so much, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means. I just want to be able to voice these questions without being demonised. And I understand that, you know, we are in a time where we do need a resolution for COVID.
Yeah, and caution it has something that, in some ways, during this pandemic, has been proved to be right. Yeah. There have been lots of messages. We were told not to wear masks because it might encourage it. Now we're absolutely told to wear masks. So what you can understand, I can understand the instinct there to be cautious about something new going into your body. One of the statements from Matt Hancock has been used as part of this sort of misinformation, hasn't it? Should we just have a look at what he said? Because I think this is what's affected a lot of people and been misused.
I'm very grateful to the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, which has published its interim advice today. They recommend priority vaccination for two groups: frontline health and social care workers and those at increased risk of serious disease and death from coronavirus, including, for example, adults over the age of 50 and those with heart and kidney disease. As we learn more about the virus, we'll continue to take into account which groups may be particularly vulnerable, including, for example, those from ethnic minority backgrounds, so we can protect the most at risk first should a vaccine become available.
Now, Paulette, it seems to me that Matt Hancock was trying to talk about the people that were most at risk. This has been taken, hasn't it, by people who want to misinform and been exaggerated in a way that the BAME community is almost being used as a guinea pig online. I've seen the reports myself. Paulette, what do you feel about this, and what do you think the reluctance is?
For me, as a local councillor and also as a nurse, I was reluctant when the vaccine first came out. So I'll put my hand up, because I'm absolutely in agreement with True that the Asian, the Black and African Caribbean community were disproportionately affected by the virus in the first place. And let's face it, if you're from an ethnic minority group, originally the side effects, if you contracted the virus, were far worse. So I did have some reservations. The problem I feel the community have, and True is spot on, because this is what I'm hearing time and time again. It's not that they don't want the vaccine. It's that they want questions answered. You know, you've got your 20 to 39-year-olds. A few days ago, we had something telling us that if you're pregnant, they advise us not to take the vaccine. But there are people between the ages of 20 to 39 that want to get pregnant in a few years, but they cannot tell us what that will mean for that group if they want to have babies. You've got people that are saying, well, they've not managed to cure AIDS, or they've not managed to cure cancer, but they've managed to find a vaccine for this virus in less than 10 months.
OK.
And don't believe it. So for me, we have to look at ways of educating the community, not demonising.
Just before we come to Hilary to answer all these points, Alex, what's been your experience with your friends and family?
Look, I agree with what's been said so far. I think there is a lack of trust in the government. And unfortunately, I think that actually started way before the pandemic actually started. Yeah. So there's a lack of trust there. Lack of representation in terms of the trials with the vaccine. So obviously that also causes some worry. And there are lots of people, whether you're black or white, that don't want to sign up to vaccine trials. And you can understand that. But there is a lot of misinformation, which I personally have seen on a number of WhatsApp groups that I've been on. And this leads to more questions than answers in so many cases. And also what I really think we need to see and hear is more, from medicine, from those of colour. I think there's a lack of representation. I want to see more people, from black and Asian backgrounds talking about the vaccine, even seeing people of colour taking the vaccine. I've noticed that as well on television when I'm watching the news. You're not seeing anyone of colour actually lining up for the vaccine. All right. I think that's also part of the problem. And if we don't address it, it's going to become a real issue.
Well, let's put some of those things... Thanks, Alex. Let's put some of those things to Hilary. We've got a lot to try and cram into a small amount of time. Going back to what True said, first of all, Hilary, there's a lack of trust. The blundering way in which the government's got through the pandemic so far. It's a very new vaccine. Is there enough data? He talked about pregnancy, he talked about breastfeeding, he talked about how many BAME people were involved in the trials.
Yeah, you raised a number of points. And, guys, I'm totally with you. It's such an important subject and so pleased to be able to answer some of these questions. First of all, yeah, there have been blunders, there has been confusion, but not particularly with the vaccine, because the vaccine isn't created by the government. The vaccine is created by researchers and scientists who know a lot about vaccines, who know a lot about mRNA vaccine, the Pfizer one, the AstraZeneca one, which works in a different way. And I would trust the doctors and the researchers, not necessarily the government. They have made errors and given confusing messages. I agree with you. But look, here's the thing. The data... We did 50,000 trial vaccinations, and we would know within 3 or 4 months whether there's any major short-term effects. And there are very, very few. The mRNA has a very short half-life. It doesn't last very long in the body. When we have a virus, when we have a cold virus, it gets into our cells. There's mRNA in cold viruses, but we don't worry about that. So why should we worry about this vaccine? It doesn't last long in the body, but it triggers the immune response. The data is growing all the time. Nearly 5 million doses have now been given over and above the trials, and there doesn't seem to be any significant short-term effects. There will be some, of course, there always will be with vaccines, but not to date, and that's really good. The BAME communities were underrepresented in the trials. Part of that is because of vaccine hesitancy. They're reluctant to enter the trials, and that will grow as more people are vaccinated and we see that it's safe in all communities. That's really important. There is no hypothetical reason why it should affect fertility going forward. There's no reason why it should do that, because it doesn't get into your DNA, it doesn't change your DNA, it's got rid of it from the body quite quickly. And so breastfeeding and pregnancy, again, those people weren't included in the trials for safety reasons, because you do, first of all, you do your non-clinical trials so that you make sure that before you put pregnant women into trials, you've done your non-clinical work, and all that looks very safe as well. Who agrees with that? WHO, all the large the medical authorities that we trust. So I think, by and large, we need education on this. This is a vaccine that needs to go to BAME communities. Why? Because they have a much higher risk of excess death, to the extent that I can tell you, in Black Caribbean populations, 2.5 times higher risk, 4.3 times higher in Black African populations, and 7.3 times higher risk of excess death in Black populations from elsewhere. That is why we need to protect you, and that's why Matt Hancock said...
Dr. Hillary, always the voice, sorry, is always the voice of reason and clearing things up.